meeting of the Rutherford Board of Education to order, December 4th, 2023, 7:30 p.m. Going to ask everyone who can to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Present.
Mrs. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Conti? Mr. Healy?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Mazzone?
Here.
Dr. Racine?
Here.
Mr. Sprayberry? Dr. Olati?
Here.
You have a quorum.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Rutherford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted on the bulletin board outside the Borough Clerk's office, mailed to the Herald, South Bergenite, and the Record newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Hard copies of the agenda are available in the meeting room, and the agenda is posted electronically on Friday before the meeting date on the district's website at www.rutherfordschools.org. Subsequent to the meeting, a video of the meeting will be uploaded to the district's website, www.rutherfordschools.org. The video link can be found by opening the Board of Education link and clicking on Public Meetings and then Videos. So board members, in your packets were 2 sets of minutes to approve: the regular meeting and executive session of November 13th, 2023. Any questions or comments about those? All right, hearing none, I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please enter those. And we'll turn it over to our student representative for her report.
Thank you. Good evening. So this past month, many extracurricular activities and accomplishments have been happening for RHS students. The Battle of the Bulldogs volleyball tournament was a few weeks ago, where students in teams of 6 or 8, including a teacher, competed against each other to raise money for the Special Olympics. Similarly, all winter sports have begun their practices and are preparing for the first games, meets, matches, and the boys and girls basketball teams had their scrimmage this week, and then their games following. Fall athletes could complete their season with the varsity dinner, which was this past week. They celebrated all their accomplishments with all league, all county, and any other academic and student athlete accomplishments. Student athletes also get to kick off their winter season with a pep rally before holiday break. This rally consists of games for students and to recognize the varsity teams in the winter season. For upperclassmen, the holiday movie night is being held on December 11th with snacks and drinks to celebrate the holiday season and connect these two grades and students. The RHS choir students today performed at the Women's Club in the morning, and many clubs are holding drives, opportunities for students to give back this holiday season. Interact Club is a notable club for students to volunteer with the Rec Department, Rutherford Food Pantry, Elks Lodge, and other local organizations to give back during this time. One final shout out is to senior and TV production student Marina Faltas, who was the New Jersey state winner for the Elks Association Drug Awareness Program video contest. The entire RHS community is proud of her and her accomplishment and her representation of the school's video production department and its opportunities for us students. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Bimson. Ms. Jones.
And Poppy was recognized for all her athletic achievements at the dinner.
Yeah.
We got several of them.
Yeah.
No, but she's very good at all.
Any questions or comments?
I will say that the food pantry, there's been a lot of activity, not just in the high school, in the other buildings as well. They commented to me in the pantry that they're getting a large amount of donations from our students. So congratulations to everybody, the high school and the other buildings, for doing their part.
What's the movie for movie night?
I'm not sure. I don't know if they've decided on it yet.
All right, well, keep us posted.
Yeah,
We'll be
I'll let
waiting.
you know.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, Ms. Bimson, it's always a pleasure to hear from you and your reports, and want to wish you happy holiday season as well. You're welcome to stay if you'd like, or if you have other commitments, we understand as well. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night. Merry Christmas,
Thank you.
Tony.
Yep.
All right, I will turn it over now to Mr. Hurley for the report of the superintendent.
Thank you. A couple of things on the agenda I'll be talking about, but I want to mention a few up front. The board's going to be asked tonight to do a revision to this year's school calendar, adding 3 one-session days, and they would be February 26th, which is a Monday, and then March 20th and April 3rd, which are Wednesdays. And as we've spoken about at board meetings and committee meetings, and we have a lot of work going on with academic programs, lots of new stuff coming down, some from the state level on new standards in language arts and math, new math program that we're looking to bring in, lots of work going on, and we need the time to allow our various committees and faculty to work on these initiatives and new standards. So by putting the approval tonight and making the first day late February, we can start as early as tomorrow to notify parents and faculty, staff, and community that the calendar's been changed, and give people enough time to plan for that. Also on the agenda, there's a lot of calendars tonight. The approval of the 24-25 calendar. As always, that's reviewed by the administrators, the supervisors. The REA takes a look at it as well to make sure everything is aligned contractually, and the calendar more or less follows the calendar from the past. The question was raised that curriculum instruction, our one-session days are going to be, for PD is going to be an ongoing thing, and the answer is no. If they're needed as we continue to go forward with initiatives, I would do what I did this year and come back to the board and say we need them. Our main goal is to have the kids in school the full time and not to inconvenience anyone with childcare and the like. But should a situation arise, we would revisit it on a year-to-year basis. I also put into the packet the proposed BOE calendar for meetings next year. That's actually approved formally at the reorg meeting, but I do want to mention that a discussion with Dr. Alati, and I think he had with all of you, about starting the meetings at 7 p.m. as opposed to 7:30 p.m., which would allow maybe for not as many super late nights, and also more time for discussion and the like. So assuming that we're going to go forward with that, that's again something that I would probably advertise as a tentative schedule ahead of the reorg meeting, so that people who might want to come to the meeting have ample notice to see that the change is going to be made. Okay, so not to preempt the decision of the reorg meeting, but just to make sure that since the reorg meeting is January 2nd, by putting it out ahead of the holiday, people will know the change. Okay. Committees, I know Dr. Alati may say something about this, but generally we usually, after the board gets reborn on January 2nd, and I meet with the person who is selected or elected to be the board president, we then quickly turn around any committee changes or committee appointments. So generally speaking, we don't have a committee meeting until the end of January or early February, so that we have ample time to do that reorganization. However, Finance Committee will be meeting on January 8th. Mr. Kelly, I don't know if there's anything you want to say about the calendar that was distributed, or?
Yeah, if I may, I included the budget calendar in your packets. It's this one with the yellow lines across. It's really more detailed than you need, but spells out what our deadlines are, what our milestones are. But the 3 yellow lines are committee meetings. Looking at the Finance Committee on January 8th. Finance and Buildings and Grounds on January 29th, and Finance again on March 4th, which should be after the state aid numbers are released. So if you just keep an eye on that, if you have any questions, please let me know. If there is only one Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting here, but if you need another one, we can certainly talk about that. But we're in the process now of gathering information, including on potential projects for next year. So I just don't think we're going to be ready for that conversation by the January 8th meeting, but we'll keep you up to date.
And Building and Grounds, one meeting in connection with finance, of what's going into the budget. if I always send out dates to kind of mark as potential committee meeting nights. So should there be a need, let's say, which I don't know if there will or not be, for personnel in conjunction with something in the budget or things like that, we would have a meeting maybe ahead of when we normally have a personnel meeting. If you're on the finance committee now, you want to pencil those dates in. Should there be any change in the committee, we'll be sure to notify those committee members ASAP, so that's the committee's in place for January 8th. Okay. I also want to just mention a few things. I think Poppy may have mentioned one or two of these, but the high school did win the annual spelling bee with Becton, which is the day before Thanksgiving, and Kia Parikh was the overall winner of the spelling bee. We also, she mentioned the Maria Fatwallis winning the State Elks Association drug video, and Elizabeth Dunlop, okay, and Daniel Fensick were selected to the Bergen County Band, and so that's another great honor to them, and also to our music program. And she did mention if the fall awards dinner for the athletic program, which probably was as one of the more successful ones we had with teams and individuals, too many to mention here, but it was a very successful evening. So once again, our students in the community service that she mentioned, and the play that was put on, and I know a lot of attention gets paid on the high school level where there's more opportunity and there's a little more notoriety, but I'll tell you that the program at the end of this month, Pierre Pont will be having their concerts. The community service is being done, the things of that nature on the lower grades that maybe don't get the headlines are equally impressive. So we've had a very good beginning of this school year at the end of this calendar year. Okay. A reminder, I don't really need to remind everyone, I guess, with the holidays coming up, December 22nd is a one-session day, and school will reopen on January 2nd. During the holiday calendar, more often than not, and this year is one of those years, the whole district is closed. So, administrators, my office, everybody's closed for that week. So should there be a need to reach me, I'm always checking email when I'm available, but the district's closed for that week. Okay? And that's it. I'll have a comment or two when we get to certain things in the agenda.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Early? I just have to laugh because my son was a backup for the spelling bee, and someone called out, so he had to be backup. And I told him, kidding around, if you're called up, just remember, I after E except I before E except after C. This is why he got it wrong in third grade, and he got called out in third grade because he got it wrong. And he's like, "Don't worry, I'm not going to get called up." And the next few days later, he's like, "I got to say that rule." And I'm like, "You called up?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he told me they won, and I'm like, "Congratulations." He's like, "Yeah, it really wasn't me. It was everyone else on the team." But he said everyone was really impressive. All right, if there's no other comments, we'll move on to the report of the president. So as Mr. Hurley said, after the January 2nd meeting, once there's the board president in place, we'll make sure that the board president gets the most current list of committees. I think actually everyone has given their selections as far as I know, I believe. So I think I have everyone's. I have Mr. Conti's, so thank you for that. And as Mr. Hurley said, I think for now until the late January meeting, everyone will just stay on the committees they're on for any committee meetings that happen before the late January meeting. Just a note, a reminder for everyone to please complete the
Board self-evaluation.
board self-evaluation. We're 2 for 9 right now. I know we're going to get to 9 out of 9. So don't feel badly if you haven't done it yet. You're in the majority. But that's okay because we're going to go over it at the later January meeting. So if everyone can try to have it, I would say by the first week of January, gives us plenty of time to be able to turn it around. So just a reminder to everyone, and I'll be emailing you just to make sure everyone remembers to do that. Last comment, I wanted to really commend Mr. Hurley to him and his team for really deeply looking at the curriculum and instruction in the ways that Mr. Hurley said. We had a curriculum and instruction meeting, and I know Ms. Jones will talk about it, but the teams of committee members are really looking deeply at curriculum in the various areas based on obviously coming from test scores, but just looking at curriculum and content and new standards coming out. So you could just tell that there's a lot of effort really being put in, looking at programs and making some interesting decisions as we're looking forward. So just wanted to acknowledge all the hard work that's going on with the faculty on these different committees. Any questions or comments for me?
If I can make one comment on the, I meant to say this, but about you mentioned the January reorg meeting. I put this in the communication I sent. With the district being closed, right, we're going to send the board packet. It'll be a small one for the reorg meeting on the Thursday, the 21st of December. So that's, 2 weeks ahead of when the meeting, but before we close down. So the normal, whether you get it electronically or whether you get it delivered to your house or both, it'll be on December 21st. Okay? Consider it a holiday Christmas present. Okay.
Probably a good social media post to say our meeting's moving to 7 for January 2nd.
Yeah.
All right. If there is nothing else, then at 7:47 p.m., we're going to open the meeting to the public for any items related to the agenda. We have anything? All right. Hearing none, we'll close the meeting at 7:47 p.m. We're going to move on to new business with action to be taken. We are going to start with personnel. Mr. Conti is not here, so I'm going to ask Mrs. Cole, will you please run us through personnel?
Do I have to talk in a Chris Conti voice?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Personnel did not have a meeting since our last board meeting, and we have 10 motions to put forward tonight. Number 1 is to accept the retirement of Margaret Nastasi at the high school with regret, effective July 1st, 2024. Number 2 and 3 is the resignation of 2 positions. Number 4 is to approve the termination due to a discontinuation of the position. Number 5, to approve a coaching assignment for the volunteer assistant girls basketball coach. Number 6 is to approve the following substitute teachers effective December 5th, 2023, as listed. Number 7 is to approve the following substitute teacher assistants effective December 5th, 2023, as listed. Number 8 is to approve the following student teachers as listed at the high school, at Rutherford Public School District. And number 9 is to approve the following travel reimbursements as listed. And number 10 on the addendum is to approve the resignation of a teacher assistant for Lincoln School, effective December 14th, 2023.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Cole. Questions from board members? All right. Hearing none. Mrs. Cole.
If I could make one comment about Mr. Stacy, I believe Margaret's been in the district for 40 years. She was a math teacher, then became a computer instructor, teaches all the high-level computer courses, AP course, AP Java, and the like. Was a major. Back when I was principal, we started an initiative to try to get more women involved, girls involved in STEM and computers, and Margaret really took the lead on that. And if you're a member of the REF, you know that she's authored many grants about that initiative to help move that going. A lifetime ago, Margaret was the assistant volleyball coach. She was my assistant coach in softball. So she's worn many, many, many hats. And 40 years, as I can attest to, is a long time. So we'll have more to say about all the retirees. We're getting them quite a few. We'll see them every month. But I thought it was worthy to mention someone who's been here, in that length of time and has done so many different things and touched so many lives in the district.
Thank you, Ms. Early. Any last questions or comments?
I'd just like to say, my children had Margaret Nastasi, and so they thought very highly of her. it's wonderful that you had stayed with it all these years and contributed so much.
Yeah.
I wish her the best.
I had her as a teacher as well, and I have to say
Yeah.
she was one of my favorite high school teachers. So I wish her the
Great
best
lady.
on her retirement. She's a great teacher.
Awesome.
All right.
See,
Anyone else have Miss Nastasi?
well, I'm going to say
All right.
if our audience, she still has to work until June. So let's not tell her too much. We don't have too big of a head going on here.
All right. So, Ms. Cole, do you want to move those?
Yes, I would like to move motions 1 through 10.
All right. Do we have a second? Mr. Bogosian? Any last questions or comments? Hearing none. Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone,
Yes.
Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry, Dr. Alati.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move on to curriculum and instruction. Ms. Jones.
Thank you. Yes, we did have a CNI meeting on November 28th, and in attendance was Dr. Alati, Lucina Cole, Dennis Maison, Brenda Fargo, Jack Hurley, and Charles Ryan, who was going to be taken over for Brenda Fargo, came to the first meeting. So we said goodbye to Brenda. For me, it was many years with Brenda. I've been on curriculum maybe since 2008 or 9, and she's always been the head there. So, and she did a fine job. I'm looking forward to see Mr. Ryan. And I know he's excited about this.
Yeah, he is.
And from what the district people have told me, that he's been wanting this for some time. So, and this is right what he's so good at. So I'm sure we'll do well. There's textbook for approval, but for me, for what I got out of the meeting mostly was how they wanted to revamp the math program. I thought that was really important based on information that they have had in test scores and so forth. Noticing that Introduction to Probabilities and Statistics, that used to be a high school course, and now they're going to do a lower
It
scale
still is a
course.
high school course, but yeah, an introductory course. And
My
on
kids
middle school.
took advanced algebra and
Yeah.
probability and stats as 2 electives
Yeah.
in that last
Yep.
year. So looking forward to all the new work that will be done on the curriculum, and for the 3 dates that they need to work. I think we'll do very well. Thank you. The first resolution, there's 15 tonight, 16 now, is for the school calendar, and the revised school calendar is also listed, noting those February 26th, Wednesday, March 20th, and Wednesday, April 3rd for the days that will be a half session or one session day, so that they can have a professional development. 3 is out of district placements. 4 is field trips, now up to 71. 5 is the ARP ESSER Safe Return Plan. Resolutions 6 through 11 are harassment, intimidation, and bullying decisions. 12 is service provider, and 12 and 13. 14 is the SS submission, and 15 is home instruction for 3 students. And Mr. Kelly just handed me another one. 16 is curriculum guides, pardon me, and textbook approvals, listing several of them. Plan GU, World Languages, Supplementary Spanish 4 through 6. That sounds interesting. So lots of stuff going on. There's more than we've done in a while. So the whole revamp as we have to do it. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Anything you want to mention?
just a couple of really quick comments. On the calendar, you'll notice after about 47 years, the calendar for next year has a slightly different format with lines and a grid, because it only took us 47 years to figure, we don't put a ruler across to see where the data lines. Now there's actually a line, you can read it better. So, we might be moving quickly with some curriculum changes, but we move very slowly on the format change of the calendar. I also want to, since Dr. Alati mentioned and Ms. Jones, you mentioned, we have a lot going on, a lot of curriculum, subtle minor changes that don't need board approval because they're not curriculum changes, they're not textbook changes, they're just, day-to-day operational changes. A lot of deep dives, a lot of, change is always difficult. And a lot of good discussions, and committees have been at work now for well over a year and are going to continue to work. A lot of progress being made on the profile of the graduate that we're working on. So, it's really, I think, has risen the level of discussion even among faculty and staff, which that in of itself sometimes produces change without formalized change, right? Because you have discussions, you're thinking, you're talking, you're questioning certain things. So it's really been a very good process. And I will be meeting Wednesday with the chairs of the committee, and one of the topics on the agenda will be to get a date for an upcoming board meeting where it's good for them to come and do a brief presentation, but a presentation because things always get lost in translation if I'm taking it and I'm bringing it forward. So let them come in and give a 5-minute report from each committee, so you get a sense of what's been going on and what's going to be happening. So that look for that sometime, maybe the end of January or in February. We'll work on that. Okay. But as always, I appreciate the comments and the support. Even something as like changing the calendar is being done to further these initiatives. So the support from the board and from the community is really always very helpful and appreciated.
Yeah, I'm sure the faculty appreciate the additional days to be able to, work on these initiatives. All right, Mrs. Jones, you want to move these?
I move resolutions 1 through 16 under curriculum and instruction.
All righty. Do we have a second? Mr. Healy? Any last questions or comments?
Well, no, before we approve, and they without my glasses, I thought 16-2 with the book was the barbecue project, and I was excited.
Yeah. It's a Dallas barbecue project.
I want to go back to school.
All right. Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bagoja?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Alati?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on now to finance. Mr. Bogosian.
We did not have a finance committee meeting since our last full board meeting. Tonight on the agenda, we have 4 items. Number 1 is the routine approval of bills. Number 2 is the October treasurer's report. Number 3 are budget line transfers. And number 4 is to accept the donation of books for the Pierpont Media Center from Deanne Hess, a Rutherford resident and a parent of a student.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Mr. Bogosian, would you like to
one
move
through 4 under
those?
finance.
Wow.
I'm the parliamentarian. I got to follow the rules, man.
It's all good. It's been a while since I made a mistake. That's good. Do we have a second? All right, Mr. Mazzone. Any last questions or comments? Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry?
Yes.
Dr. Alati?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We will move on now to policy. Mr. Healy.
Yes, we did not have a policy committee meeting since our last board meeting, and there are no resolutions for this evening.
All right, thank you. Then we'll move on to buildings and grounds. Mr. Sprayberry.
We did not have a voting grounds committee, and just so you know, I put out a straw vote to the community to start another referendum project. So, just fill out the report when you see it, and a nice survey. It's about 100 million this year.
Sounds good.
We have 2 motions regarding the high school renovation. A couple of change orders here, so a little bit more dirt and a little bit more paint. But progress looks amazing, so I can't wait to see it. So I would like to move 2 change orders, 1 and 2.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments?
For the clean fill, not the dirt. All right, the clean fill.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's dirt.
Dirt,
So
okay.
it's- Yeah, what it is whenever you dig something up and you have to go back to remediation, contamination, whatever it is, minor parts, this, that, and the other, and there's anything underneath the ground, and the ground sinks even further when they compact it, like you actually have a level of dirt, it's like, there's raised plywood. Okay, plywood is graded A, B, C, and then there's D. Okay, E is your craft wood, A, you know, and you got to say your A is your craft, and your C is the best. It's like clean finish like this, so there's different grades back to dirt that you're allowed to actually put down into construction.
So it's 9 inches deep over the whole field. That makes sense.
Got it. And what were the unforeseen circumstances?
We needed more dirt.
All right. I just,
You move something, like you go dig
Got
a
it.
hole, and usually there's more dirt, like back in, but what happens is when you actually move it, if there's rocks or anything else, and you
Right.
put it back, there's not enough dirt.
got it.
You know, you remember the jar with the sand and the rocks and how you all put it together? You know, and then to make sure how you fill it up, you put the sand in first and the rocks will fit, put the rocks in, let the sand go around. Same concept, it's just when you remove it right, there's just more.
Got it. Makes sense. All right. Mr. Sprayberry, do you want to move those?
I just,
All right. We have a second. Ms. Cole, any final questions or comments?
I have a question. When's the date of completion now? Because I think originally it was supposed to be December 31st.
We have not heard anything contrary to that. I mean, when I'm looking out there, I don't know. You know, I don't know how quickly they'll finish it. I don't think it's going to be. There have been a couple of things that probably slowed them down, like having to get the extra dirt to come in, the change orders on the fencing, in a couple of areas where we noticed that there wasn't going to be enough protection to, you know, windows in the building and things like that. But I think we're not going to be, if the weather cooperates, I don't think we'll be too much past that date. But we haven't heard anything official yet.
Their biggest, I mean, you see nowadays, when you come out of like Thanksgiving and stuff, you walk by it and they had all the holes dug, all the trenches, all the trunk
Right.
lines and everything else. Now they're starting to cover it back up, real quick.
Yeah, the carpet, I mean, you know, the grass, the turf, the carpet goes down very quickly. And you know, it looks like, I mean, again, just by looking at it, it looks like a lot of things look very level. You know, things look like we're getting near the end. So I don't think it's out of the question to be the end of December. I don't think it'd be much later than that. I will say though, I never thought like just dirt that looks a little muddy right now with posts without a fence would be an improvement over what we had, but it actually looks better like that. So we're making some nice progress.
Gonna paint the retaining wall.
Yeah, we'll have to, yeah.
Down.
No, it's us. I don't remember if that's in the project or,
Painted.
yeah,
I
don't know. I think we
an art
should-
project around it.
yeah.
I like that. Every year.
Have kids go down
Yeah.
and do an art project and give them chances.
Hold your breath, though, too, on some of that. No, I think it's in there to be painted.
Yeah, probably.
It probably
You
is.
mentioned to me a while ago that we weren't gonna, when I was asking, are we gonna paint the wall? And you said, no, it will be done after.
Yeah, I think it's in there. And obviously, if I'm wrong and it's not, we would do
We
it.
should do that.
Right.
I think we have Board of Education, maybe when we go out and paint the wall.
Well, you know,
Go do it.
community service. Right.
It's actually not a bad idea. Some schools have like a rock that each class, the graduating class paints. So it's something that maybe they want to discuss in the future. That's it.
All right. So it looks like we moved that and it was seconded. So Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes,
Mr. Mazzone, Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Yes.
Dr. Alati.
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move on now to any old business. Is there any old business? Mr. Healy.
Yes, I attended the New Jersey School Board Association Delegate Assembly Saturday, last Saturday, December 2nd. And the president of the New Jersey Board Association spoke, Dr. Cordolino, to the gathering, and also the executive director of the New Jersey School Board Association, Dr. Purnell. And he highlighted a couple of
is
things.
his mic on? I
Great.
can't hear him.
Yeah, hold on.
It's not coming through.
It's not?
There we go.
Hello?
There you go.
James,
there we go.
Mr.
I hear him.
Bogosian, thank you.
Mrs. Jones, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Thank
but I
you.
couldn't Before, thank you.
Sorry. What's it? All right. Not. So Dr. Purnell highlighted more than a few things, but two of them I thought to mention. One is there's now a connections. One is now Connections, it's called, and it's on the New Jersey School Board Association website. And it allows district Board of Eds to actually interact with other Board of Eds members across that website. Question and answer type of things. Also, there is, I believe, for board presidents, there's a way to communicate. He also highlighted the fact that the state of New Jersey, which we knew, is loosening teacher certification requirements, and he talked about that somewhat. Then there were 5 resolutions, which I don't have all the detail yet. Usually this meeting is in November, and we usually have the detailed information by now. But as soon as I get it, no doubt I'll give you everyone a briefing on those resolutions that were presented. But 2 of them I thought were noteworthy to mention. One was about, it was first called anti-book banning, and then it was changed to selection of curricula and support material. And the intent there is to change the New Jersey School Board Association manual of position and policy, and to expand it to be explicit about the rights of the district to choose and evaluate its own materials. And there'll be more about that in their notes. That's what I mean about the language that they're going to put out. I'll pass that on. There was another one about changing cohort calculations, meaning students that can't be verified to be in the district. They're adding a category for that, excluded from cohort. So that was the proposal, and it passed. And that will be in the New Jersey Standards, Measurements, and Resource for Training. New Jersey SMART. Is that meaningful to Mr. Kelly?
Total operating system.
Okay. It's
all,
what?
all data for the state.
Okay. And there was one other about supporting, the state of New Jersey put out additional language regarding extensive background checks for employee and hiring practices. And they wanted to put additional language into their position and policy manual for that. And that was also, that also passed. So those few of them, as more extensive detail and language comes out, I'll pass it around to everyone, get everyone a copy. But that was it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
very
Mr.
informative.
Messina.
Thank you. Other old business? All right, then we will move on to legislative update. Ms. Jones?
Yes, I have one. Assembly Bill 5785, introduced just last week on November 30th. Refers to the Assembly committees. A Republican, Michelle Massadosis, would like to have permits a Board of Education to accept donations for the purpose of providing property tax relief. They only have one Republican on it now. From what I've understood, with a Democrat Senate, or Assembly, you have to get Democrats to support this too before it goes forward. But that will be fun watching them if that goes on.
Great. All right, thank you. Questions or comments? All right, at 8:10 p.m. then, we are going to open the meeting to the public for anything related or not related to the agenda. Looks like there are no comments, so we're going to close the meeting at 8:10 p.m. We are going to require an executive session for one student matter. Should be out for most 5 minutes or less, and no action to be taken. I have a motion to move to executive session. All right. James B., seconded by James S. We are in executive session.